it's a historical artifact.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been sufficient reason to go against that tradition and that original intent, which was basically to recognize the Catholics as a protected minority when most of the rest of the immigrants to Canada were Protestants. So it was a way of protecting them. But really, that's pretty relevant now. Nobody cares if you're Catholic or if you're Protestant or whatever.
Yeah,
like
it's more relevant to like Muslim schools and stuff now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's relevant only in that it's the same situation, just different religion.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. The funny thing is, like, I grew up in the Catholic system, and I really don't feel like any of that really was part of it. Like, it seemed like that you did the things, like you went to church, you said the Our Father, you did all that nonsense, but really nobody gave a crap.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
I think, like a couple of kids really did, but I don't know.
Well, it seems to be if you grow up Catholic, there's two ways you go. You either go right in along and really into it, or other way.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't think many people who eat that bread think it's the body of Christ.
Transubstantiation.
I don't think they're eating a dude.
And you know what? Here's the interesting part is, like, I think a lot of people that I grew up with, they didn't actually understand that literal aspect of the belief. Like, I don't think they really got that. At least I never was educated on that until like much later in life, and then I realized like that's really weird.
Yeah,
like
that's cannibalism.
I thought
that's
this was just
up.
symbolic. I didn't realize that like you literally think that Jesus' presence comes into this piece
right.
of bread.
Nobody.
No.
And there's people that are saying that there's miracles where this bread is starting to bleed.
Oh yeah.
That's special Catholic
or that
miracles.
It turned into real flesh. I've heard that one.
They starts growing veins and
Right.
well, actually that's mold.
Yeah.
So it starts growing some weird mold, and people are like, "Oh, look, it's changing."
Yeah. Mary started crying. Kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's miracles. What a bunch of nonsense.
And they say Scientology's weird.
Right.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
I was in the chapters today buying presents, and there is this one book that my aunt had sent me that I noticed is still sitting there. There's loads and loads of them, and it's I forget what the title is. It's like God is for real or some doofy thing. It's this yellow covered book where this kid is having a surgery and has apparently some dream about heaven, which he tells his dad, who is a struggling, rather poor pastor, who then wraps this all up. The whole thing's it's co-written by somebody who was all into like Sarah Palin's campaign or something. Like it's all the people that are involved with this are pretty slimy, and the whole thing just stinks of I'm going to make money off of my kid by claiming that they had some terrific vision. And I started reading this thing going, how gullible do you have to be to think to not think that this is some guy capitalizing off of and making money off of his kid by lying?
Because kids don't lie. They don't make stuff up.
Kids lie and make stuff up all the time.
Sorry, my sarcasm was on, but not prominent enough.
I know you were. and you know what?
There's a sarcasm alert.
And pastors who are out of money and have medical bills to pay because their kid was sick are going to come up with stories too. But that book is there's still like loads of them on the shelves. Like you think it'd be in the bargain bin section by now, but no, it's not.
People buy into that stuff. How many people are going to that John Edwards thing that I saw you were ranting about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that already came and went. I think
Did it?
Yeah.
Is that already come and gone?
Yeah, I think so. People were protesting a little bit.
Yeah,
well, that's good.
CFI Regina was protesting
CFI,
it.
Yeah.
That's good.
I didn't show up for that, but
Oh, John Edward.
I was going to go holding up a sign that says, "Do you have a dead relative whose name starts with a letter of the alphabet?"
Yeah.
Biggest douche in the universe.
Biggest
Or-
douche in the universe.
Yeah, more a sign. Yeah.
More South Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely it, though. So South Park hits the nail on the head. They really do, eh? Yeah, fucking grief vampire.
Okay, Brian, I'm here. Now, what is it you want?
All right, look, Lois, this psychic nonsense has gone too far, so I'm going to prove to you that there is no such thing as someone who is psychic, and that with the most minimal training and the right set of buzzwords, anyone can appear to be psychic. Even a complete boob like Peter. Watch this.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm psychic, and I'm getting a strong feeling from you. Do you have a watch or clock that no longer works?
Wow. I used to have a watch that broke.
You see, just by asking very general questions that would apply to most people, a person can appear to have inside knowledge about you.
I'm also sensing that you have a dead relative.
My husband died of cancer last year.
Oh, my God. Awesome. Okay, I'm sensing some other bad stuff.
My daughter was just in an accident.
Sweet. High five.
You're awful.
Hey, you don't want to hear the truth? Don't come to the park.
There's a debate between another apologist and I think his name is Justin Schieber from the Reasonable Doubts podcast on dogma debate. That was, I don't know, I think it was on the 4th of June here. And I have yet to listen to it. It's supposed to be quite good, though. Because Justin Schieber is actually a philosophy professor. So he can actually address this.
Aquinas' 5 ways.
Yeah.
I was listening to it was Matt Dillahunty and Cy Ten Bruggencate had
I
done
haven't listened to that yet.
They'd done a debate. I think it was last weekend. Trying to get through it. It's rather long and a bit repetitive.
Yeah.
But they did a good job. But that's
Matt Dillahunty's always pretty good.
Yeah.
I find that it's always the apologists that I'm going, no, that's nonsense.
yeah. No, it was a good debate, and he did a good job of handling the guy and backed him into a corner a few times. But he's quite slippery. And it's the presuppositionalist thing where it's you have to presuppose that God exists because, and everyone believes in God because I say so, because the Bible says so, and because that's how it must be. So,
right.
Presupposing God's existence, that's Aquinas' 5 ways as well. That's those.
Okay.
Yeah,
those
they
5
all
rules.
have to. They have to.
They all presuppose his existence, and then go on to prove it. Given that he exists, I can prove that he exists.
Prove that he exists.
Oh, good job.
Yeah.
Wait a sec.
Yeah. So they're all guilty of what we call begging the question or
and special pleading.
circularity or
Yeah.
So
A whole host of fallacious arguments.
I don't know. It's just called look into history. Once again, how can you say one God?
Oh yeah.
And there's so many gods. How can
How do you disprove Christianity or God? Because there's so
Aristotle
many.
was one of the first monotheists in ancient Greek society,
Right.
And Aquinas, Anselm, different guy. Aquinas' 5 ways are all based off of Aristotle's arguments.
Okay.
So Aristotle's argument for the first cause, that's one of Aquinas' 5 ways. So it's all stolen from the ancient Greeks,
Right.
which is really old, tired, poor reasoning.
It's interesting listening to an apologist try to claim that there's different versions of the cosmological argument. Like, in the one episode of Dogma Debate, he's talking about, that's not, what you're arguing against is X, this other type of cosmological argument. What I'm presenting is this Leibniz, cosmological argument. And I'm just, it's still the fucking cosmological argument. Like, how do you pretend that it's not the same thing?
It's just a different brand of cosmological argument. There's a Kalam one.
Yes, I've heard of that one too.
Yeah.
Did you say clown?
Kalam cosmological argument. I've heard them talking about it on Atheist Experience or something, and there's all these different brands of them, I think.
But it's all the same thing.
It's basically essentially the same circular argument and special pleadings and things.
Some of them might require different refutations, but
maybe.
I mean, ultimately, none of them are proofs.
Right.
It's the thing. I mean, once you know what a proof is.
They just confound things. They attempt to muddy the thinking and make you give up.
The biggest thing I wanted to convey about the 5 ways, Aquinas' 5 ways, is they were never meant to be proofs. And everyone looks at these arguments and all of their rehashings as proofs or as evidence or as convincing in that sense. And he didn't. he didn't look at his own arguments as proofs.
Right.
He looked at them as appeals to emotion. So he meant to appeal to atheists and say, look, I just want you to understand why I believe what I believe. I'm just trying to give you some sense of why I believe what I believe. And that's the purpose of my arguments. And then everybody since then has taken them as proofs. And that's really, really irritating to me. I mean, he says that.
Wow.
In what he's writing, that they're appeals to the atheist in that sense. That's it. So everyone's taking it way too seriously.
I always put the quotes around proofs.
Yeah.
But
I didn't realize to be there.
Yeah, I didn't quite realize it was even Aquinas wouldn't have called them proofs.
Yeah, he wouldn't have. Well, they're called Aquinas' 5 ways.
Right.
It's not 5 proofs. That's a corruption.
You know, the thing about Marvel superheroes is they're all just lab accidents.
No, they're evolutionary. You know.
Well, they've got 2 classes, right? They've got the evolutionary mutant group, and they've got the accident group.
Yeah, the lab accident group. Yeah.
Sure. So Spider-Man's an accident.
He's an accident.
Yeah. Daredevil's an accident. The Hulk's an accident.
Wolverine is an accident.
Wolverine's an accident. And an experiment. And a mutant.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
None of them really came by their powers, honestly.
He's an experiment and stuff because he's a mutant.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So he had what was required.
But then, I know DC falls back on the aliens. Like, they're all
They
aliens.
really do, yeah.
Like, John Johns is an alien. Superman's an alien. Hawkgirl an alien.
Batman has the best power of them all, being rich.
He does.
Right?
Same with Iron Man.
Same as but that's Marvel again.
Yeah.
And brooding. Don't forget
that's
that.
True.
Brooding is a great power.
Rich and
Yeah.
brooding, yeah.
And the smartest man alive as well.
Well, I don't know about that.
That's what they say.
It doesn't seem right.
He's prepared for every situation.
Can he solve every problem with "I'm Batman"?
Pretty close.
Usually.
Yeah, pretty close.
Not a bad invitation, too.
Like, literally, I don't know if you read any of the series when Batman with Dr. Hurt, was all this stuff about...
I read a lot of Marvel. I didn't read a lot of DC.
This was actually fairly recent. This was
Actually, I didn't read a lot of Marvel. I read some of Marvel. He's read a lot of Marvel.
Like, he literally, in this like series, he literally implanted this other Batman in his consciousness just in case his mind was, like, hacked. And, like, so when they hack his mind to think he's, like, this Batman of this other alternate dimension or whatever bullshit, it was kind of lame, some of it. But anyway, he, like, literally had this backup consciousness, like, so he could still be Batman. Or something like that. Like, it was really weird. And it was, like... So, like, Batman still won out even though they, like, destroyed his mind. Like, it was... Like, that's how
Mental
prepared...
Batman flash drive.
It was like that. Like, they had it, so, like, and they built up to that. Like, it was very obvious that that's what they were getting at. Because, like, he had this whole scenes before where he was, like, meditating in this place and all this, like, learning this ability.
Yeah.
It was just, like... It was, like, unreal. Like, that was, like, the most Batman has ever surprised me with something he was prepared for. Like, it was just like, you were ready for someone to hack into your mind. You had a backup Batman in there just in case. Like, it was ridiculous.
Crazy. Who in the DC universe can match the coolness of Deadpool?
Actually, you know what? I think Deathstroke, or what's his name? No, the guy, like, Deadpool's a ripoff of the DC character, actually.
They mutated, yeah.
Yes.
Deadpool was originally basically a ripoff of Deathstroke.
Deathstroke, yes.
But then they twisted him into
Yeah.
what is Deadpool.
What is
Hence
current
why
Deadpool.
he isAde Wilson instead of Slade
Wilson. Exactly.
Right.
Really?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Checkmate. No, just kidding. No, just kidding.
I believe the phrase is check and mate. That's awesome. Well, you learn something new every day.
You know, having said that, they both rip each other off back and forth a lot. There's
It's all
Thanos
over the
and
place.
Darkseid.
Oh yeah. Oh, Darkseid's so good. That's I love Darkseid.
But so is Thanos.
Thanos is good too.
Yeah.
But then again, part of that is also because Jack Kirby, who created a lot of the characters, went from Marvel to DC.
To DC, yeah. I will be sad if Darkseid never makes a film appearance of any sort. I think he if they make a Justice League movie, Darkseid has to be
Thing is,
involved.
my pet theory is if they do make a Justice League movie, it's going to suck.